that you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Carolyn.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
So you cannot be attractive and smart? I will try to give Joy the benefit of, well, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman.
Joy Behar, the outspoken co-host of The View, found herself at the center of a bombshell scandal no one saw coming.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what...
Reports are flooding in that Behar was arrested at the airport while allegedly trying to flee the country amid an explosive $800 million lawsuit.
But they need to get real. I'm sorry.
They've never seen normal
We're in an emergency
politics,
situation
no,
in this country. This
never
is
seen
not
normal
a joke
politics.
anymore. This is an emergency for, especially for non-whites, for immigrants, for gay people.
Yeah, I took for granted.
Witnesses describe a shocking scene. Federal agents surrounding Behar as she attempted to board a one-way flight, her face frozen in disbelief. Was she truly attempting to outrun justice? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye?
The reaction was I was at Costco buying, 10 boxes of Keurig coffee, and my watch started to buzz, and I got so excited I started leaking a little bit.
The lawsuit, none other than White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is behind it, firing off legal action that could financially wipe Behar off the map.
I want to point out one thing. I'm speaking to fellow Christians. I was raised Catholic. I'm a Christian girl. When something like this happens to you, like this assassination attempt, and you say something like God was watching me, that is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic. What about Corey? What's his name? Comparatore, the fireman who also got killed.
I don't know. I think
But what exactly did Behar do to ignite such a legal firestorm? It all traces back to a reckless, career-ending comment on The View, one that sent shockwaves through the media world and triggered an avalanche of backlash. Before we dive into the heart of this unfolding controversy, take a second to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates on this scandal and more. This story is only getting crazier, and you won't want to miss a single twist. The comment that changed everything.
You know what's in the air, Whoopi? Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it. And everybody's uptight and crazy right now. Well, then I'm going...
It was supposed to be just another fiery episode of The View, a routine mix of heated debates, strong opinions, and politically charged exchanges. But in an instant, Joy Behar took things to a whole new level.
I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts, because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you?
No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence.
With a smug smirk and an air of dismissiveness, she made a comment about White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt that sent shockwaves across the country.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
In a reckless moment, Behar insinuated that Leavitt had secured her prestigious role not because of her political acumen, intelligence, or experience, but because of her looks. The insinuation was brutal, the delivery unapologetic, and the backlash instant. The moment the words left Behar's mouth, the damage was irreversible. Gasps rippled through the live audience. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of the comment went viral, drawing millions of views and sparking an all-out firestorm. Leavitt's team wasted no time issuing a scathing response, calling Behar's remarks not only sexist, but a direct attack on women's progress in professional spaces.
But I'd like to be positive, but today I don't feel... yesterday I felt better. Maybe it was the Valium. But today I feel like we lost the Senate, the Supreme Court, the executive branch. The House is on the verge of going to him. It's pathetic. There are no checks and balances. A completely intelligent, qualified woman lost to a guy who's simulating sex with a microphone. I mean, come on, America.
The statement was sharp and uncompromising, branding Behar's words as outdated, demeaning, and an insult to every woman who has fought for credibility in a male-dominated field. The message was clear. This wasn't just an offhanded remark, it was a betrayal of everything Behar claimed to stand for.
Musk was pro-apartheid. I don't really know for sure if he was. He grew up at that time when apartheid was in full bloom, before the great Nelson Mandela fixed that. He was around at that time, but maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. He might have been a young guy, too.
Might have been.
So don't be suing me, okay, Elon? They're allowed to say any lie they want, but we have to be really strict. That's why this show's important.
And then the unthinkable happened. As outrage intensified, calls for Behar's removal grew deafening. Major news outlets covered the fallout. Political commentators on both sides of the aisle ripped into The View, questioning how a woman who had spent decades preaching about female empowerment could tear down another woman so effortlessly. The hypocrisy was staggering, and viewers weren't about to let Behar slide. The scandal wasn't just another controversy. It was the beginning of an all-out legal war. The $800 M legal earthquake that sent Behar running?
As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore. I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team.
With Joy Behar's reputation in absolute freefall, Caroline Leavitt made a power move no one saw coming. Instead of settling for a public apology or a network-issued slap on the wrist, Leavitt went straight for the legal jugular.
There's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps.
She hit Behar with an $800 million defamation lawsuit, a legal behemoth that instantly became one of the biggest defamation cases in modern media history. The message was clear: reckless speech has consequences, and Behar was about to learn that the hard way.
As I say every time I speak about this, what Hamas did was
Terror.
brutal and terror and unforgivable, but I don't think we get to a better place with more civilian deaths, and that is why, in my belief, we need a permanent ceasefire right now. We need a permanent ceasefire to finally bring all
Well, shouldn't the Hamas release them all and they might get a ceasefire?
We were seeing them released. And we need a ceasefire to bring all the hostages home, and we can see from
But they won't do that.
We can see that the people who have been released, they're
Legal experts immediately jumped on the case, dissecting every angle. Could Leavitt actually win such a high-stakes battle? The answer, according to many, was a resounding yes. The case wasn't just about one comment. It was about holding media personalities accountable for reckless statements made on national television.
This is what this is all about, the gun lobby. All these people who are selling guns, they make a lot of money off of children's deaths, apparently, in this country. They're worrying about, other people, books, baloney items. This, they will not do anything about it. By the way, thank you, Joe Biden, for trying to put the ban on those assault weapons, which I should also point out that after a mass shooting in Australia in 1996, they enacted a mandatory gun buyback and collected 700,000 privately owned guns. Mm-hmm. Since then, there has been just one mass shooting, which was 4 people, mm-hmm. And gun homicides have decreased by 60%. It can be done. It can be done. I wish they would stop jumping around and dancing around everything but the guns. It's the guns. That's the thing they all have in common. Whether they're white boys, whether they're black boys, whether they're girls, whether they're older, whether they're younger, the one thing is the guns.
Behar, who had spent years taking shots at politicians, celebrities, and fellow media figures, had finally pushed the wrong person too far. And if she lost, it wouldn't just be about money. Her career, influence, and entire public image would be in ruins.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Carmine Sabia here for Explain America. And Joy Behar, the wackadoo host of ABC's daytime talk show, The View, she really stepped in at this time with maybe the dumbest thing she's ever said. And that's saying something for Joy Behar, folks.
And then came the most shocking twist of all. Rather than standing her ground and fighting the case, reports surfaced that Behar had tried to flee the country. That's right. Sources claim she secretly booked a one-way flight to Italy, hoping to escape the legal fallout before the lawsuit could take full effect. It was a desperate move, a clear attempt to outrun the consequences of her own words. But she never made it to her flight. Federal agents were already on her trail.
It's a wake-up call people needed to hear right now, Joy?
Whoopi, did he say that something about God in his little apology?
Yes.
Did he say, my God?
Yes.
Yeah. So after that type of language, he actually invokes the name of the Lord. Okay, there's the hypocrisy and the vileness of it is quite striking, isn't it? Also, aren't we just also coming out of or being still in the Me Too movement where people are getting fired for language that is unacceptable? Why is he still in the Congress? And notice there are crickets coming from the GOP who were quite outraged, I tell you, and shocked when Sarah Sanders was very nicely ushered out of a restaurant. Remember that? Now nothing. They should all either say something about it or just resign, in my opinion. Resign now. He needs to resign for sure.
The moment was nothing short of cinematic. As Behar attempted to board her flight, TSA and federal agents swarmed her at the airport, placing her under arrest before she could make her escape. Witnesses looked on in shock as the once untouchable media icon was led away in handcuffs.
I wanted to ask you, obviously, all of our hearts break for the loss of life of innocent Palestinians in the crossfire in this war. We also are very concerned over the campus protests that we saw break out, some of the more violent rhetoric used and some of the imagery we saw. Could you speak to that?
Well, I think that, people do have the right to protest. I mean, that's why we have a democracy. Thank God we live in a democracy. But I think that the protests have to be peaceful. Peaceful. Why would we be violent? What is the point of the violence? I mean, aren't they really protesting the violence with violence? I mean, that doesn't make sense. So peaceful, yes, it is your right to protest.
Within minutes, the footage hit social media, sending the internet into a complete frenzy. This wasn't just a legal battle anymore. This was a full-blown spectacle, and Joy Behar was at the center of it. But the real question remained, was this the end of Behar's career, or just the beginning of a battle even bigger than anyone expected? Witnesses speak. She looked shocked.
They're about to get a little more invasive. The agency rolling out more rigorous pat-downs at airports all across the country. Before, agents used 5 different screening methods, but now there's only going to be one that involves, quote, more intimate contact. The change comes after a Homeland Security report found that agents missed hidden weapons during some basic pat-downs.
The scene at the airport was nothing short of chaotic. As TSA agents and federal authorities surrounded Joy Behar, passengers stood frozen in disbelief. One witness, still processing what they had just seen, described the moment vividly. She looked completely blindsided, like she didn't think she'd actually get caught.
And Elon Musk kisses his butt and strokes his tiny ego or big ego, whatever it is. And he doesn't get to he can take a nap while the guy was not born in this country, who was born under apartheid in South Africa, so has that mentality going on. He was pro-apartheid, as I understand it.
He's a naturalized citizen.
Right?
Now.
He's a naturalized citizen.
Now he's a naturalized citizen.
Oh, really? How did he do that? Did he come over the border legally?
He had an H-1B visa, I believe.
He flew in.
Yeah, he allegedly overstayed that visa.
Yeah, but I think this is just perfectly...
Another bystander claimed Behar frantically tried to talk her way out of it, her voice rising in panic as she argued with security. She was on the phone the whole time, demanding to speak to a lawyer, trying to get someone to intervene, the witness added. But it was clear there was no escape.
People don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did.
Do they showed up at McDonald's and those voters saw something on the ground that probably resonates in a way that they need to.
But they need to look past the photo ops, these people, and say, who's doing the job here? Forget about the photo op.
Showing up is a big thing,
I think this is Donald Trump's fault.
Passengers watched in stunned silence as the once dominant voice of daytime television was handcuffed right in front of them. Some scrambled to pull out their phones, capturing footage of Behar's dramatic downfall. And within minutes, those clips were all over the internet. Twitter exploded with memes, Instagram flooded with reaction videos, and news outlets ran with the story at full speed. The arrest wasn't just a minor scandal, it was a full-blown media hurricane.
But I'd like to be positive, but today I don't feel... yesterday I felt better. Maybe it was the Valium. But today I feel like we lost the Senate, the Supreme Court, the executive branch. The House is on the verge of going to him. It's pathetic. There are no checks and balances. A completely intelligent, qualified woman.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, ABC executives were in full-blown crisis mode. Damage control teams scrambled to find a way to contain the disaster, but the optics were undeniable. One of their most controversial hosts, arrested at the airport while allegedly trying to flee the country, Leavitt's legal team wasted no time doubling down, making it clear that they were not backing off. In a blistering public statement, they declared, "No one is above the law. Reckless words have consequences, and this lawsuit is only the beginning."
Money, whether you attribute that to him or whatever you do, but that's what people were voting on.
False information.
I think they were also voting on immigration, and one of the things he says is that he's going to return all these people to the countries they came from, and he's going to make the country...
The message was clear. This wasn't just about a lawsuit anymore. It was about accountability, and for Joy Behar, it seemed like there was no way out. The View in freefall. Can the show survive?
I don't know what people were thinking when they voted for him. I mean, this one statistic really got to me. He lost, during his term, 200,000 manufacturing jobs. He lost them.
Yeah.
Joe Biden added more than 775,000 jobs. And people voted for Trump. I think that they have been misinformed, misled by other networks. You know, people get mad at us. They say we're one-sided here. The statistics are
here. But I do think it was cost of living, because I think a lot of voters think of the Trump...
There were more jobs created.
They think of the Trump years before COVID. So, like, if you're judging it by,
the Obama?
No, they're thinking of the Trump years before the coronavirus came and the unemployment spiked and the economy went to freefall. And it was a time that people had more...
Joy Behar's arrest wasn't just a personal disaster. It sent shockwaves through the entire production of The View. Overnight, the show found itself in complete disarray. Insiders claim that producers were scrambling behind the scenes, desperately trying to figure out their next move.
It's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies.
Could they possibly save the show without one of its most recognizable voices? Or had Behar's recklessness finally pushed them past the point of no return?
It's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies, touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right.
According to reports, ABC is considering cutting Behar for good, a move that just weeks ago seemed unthinkable. But the stakes are higher than ever. The network is hemorrhaging credibility. Major sponsors are allegedly pulling their support, and social media is flooded with demands for ABC to take action. The hashtag Cancel The View is trending nationwide, with thousands calling for the show's permanent removal. The big question now, can The View survive this storm?
I put up with it.
Well,
and by the way, egg prices are supposed to come down, not airplanes.
Well,
It isn't the first time the show has faced controversy. Over the years, The View has weathered heated debates, feuds, and on-air meltdowns. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to this. The arrest of a longtime host amid an $800 legal battle is a level of chaos the network has never seen before. Even if Behar is cut loose, is it already too late?
Girl gets into an elevator with Donald Trump, a young, beautiful girl. And she says to him, you know, I'm going to give you a blowjob all the way up to the 25th floor. And Donald Trump says to her, yeah, but what's in it for me?
And what about Behar herself? Could this lawsuit be the final nail in her career's coffin? Some sources claim she's already reaching out to top legal teams, trying to piece together a comeback strategy. But let's be real. How do you come back from being arrested while trying to flee the country? For Behar, The View, and ABC, the stakes have never been higher. And one thing is certain, this battle is far from over. Is this the end for Joy Behar?
My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult, but boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
Right now, Joy Behar is staring down the biggest crisis of her career and possibly her life. With an $800 million lawsuit hanging over her head, she's at risk of losing everything: her career, her fortune, and the reputation she spent decades building. But even if she somehow manages to win in court, the damage to her public image may already be irreparable.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America.
Behar has always been known for her bold, unapologetic opinions, but this time her words may have gone too far. The media world is watching closely, as the outcome of this case could set a massive precedent for media accountability. If Behar is held financially responsible for her remarks, it could change the way public figures and TV personalities operate, forcing them to think twice before making reckless accusations on national television.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see all of you on this very newsy day, to say the least. I have a couple of updates for you this morning, or this afternoon. As you know, this morning, the president spoke to President Putin of Russia. They spoke at length, and the president released a statement following that conversation in great detail.
And then there's Caroline Leavitt. Some believe that this lawsuit could do more than just clear her name. It could catapult her into an even bigger political career. By taking on a media powerhouse like Behar, Leavitt has positioned herself as a fighter, someone willing to challenge the elite and hold them accountable. If she wins, she could emerge as a national icon, gaining the support of those who feel the media has abused its influence for too long.
You know what's in the air, Wumpy? Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it. And everybody's uptight and crazy right now.
One thing is undeniable. This battle is just getting started. More shocking details are sure to emerge, and as both sides dig in for what promises to be a brutal legal war, the fallout could reshape not just Behar's career, but the entire landscape of mainstream media. Will Joy Behar manage to claw her way back, or is this the final humiliating chapter of her long career? The clock is ticking, and the world is watching.
Well, I've met him before, but I always find him to be like a very comfortable with himself type of guy.
Yeah.
And I found that true about Kamala Harris also.
Right.
And I remember when the Obamas came on, I thought, well, here's a couple that's relaxed with themselves. They know who they are.
Comfortable in their own skin.
They're comfortable. They don't need to put on airs or act in a way that goes contrary to their real personalities.
Right.
And I appreciate that.
We've talked about this before, but when Hillary Clinton was running, there was always a feeling like there was the Hillary when the cameras were on and there was the Hillary when the cameras were off. I agree with you. It feels like with Kamala Harris and Governor Walz today.
What do you think? Sound off in the comments. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Joy Behar is getting what she deserves, or is this lawsuit taking things too far? Was she truly trying to escape, or is there another side to this story? And more importantly, should The View survive this scandal, or is it time for the show to finally be shut down? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping update on this developing story. This controversy is far from over, and trust us, you won't believe what happens next.